Welcome to Mod My Nissan 350Z, presented by Continental Tire, where we're going to breathe new life into our former drift car. If you've been a subscriber of our channel for a couple of years now, you may recognize this red 350Z, or Z as I call them. And this was part of our drift series. So we built this car versus Pete's E46 M3 Cabriolet. And it's really sat around since then, hasn't it? We really haven't done anything with it. We did a couple of tire tests with it, but it's more or less lived in the back corner of the shop. And we felt now is the right time to revive it for a couple of reasons. One is we want to showcase the new Continental Extreme Contact Force tire. This is their new 200 tread wear tire that's been built in partnership with Hoosier to give you like max performance out of what is a street legal tire. It's meant to be like used in, say, endurance racing or time attack. It's really, designed for that sort of competition environment, but you can still run it legally on the street if you want to. And so we're going to test these against the Condi Extreme Contact Sport, which is our go-to summer tire. The other reason we dusted Z off here is, well, in a previous Mod My Ride series, we actually built that 04 Honda Civic and we gave it away within Canada. And we thought, since the majority of our viewers are in America, maybe this car is the perfect opportunity for us to do a giveaway in the United States. And as luck would have it, an opportunity to do exactly that fell in our lap in a partnership with a company called Power JDM. So if you go to powerjdm.com, you'll be able to buy parts or merchandise there, and for every dollar you spend, you get one entry into the giveaway to win this 350Z. The other option you have is use the link in the description, and it'll take you to a page where you would enter your email address, and you'll instantly receive 2 entries for every dollar you spend on their website for entry into the giveaway. So that's basically how this is going to work. And as I've intimated, you have to be an American citizen to qualify to enter this giveaway. The giveaway will last for 60 days starting today. So it's basically gonna run to the end of this year, at which point, within about a week, the Power JDM will be able to tabulate all the entries and choose a winner, at which point we will do a live stream and announce who that winner is. And we'll make arrangements to get you the car. And this is a former United States car. This was originally bought new in the United States, so it should be no issue for us to ship it back into the United States to whoever our lucky winner is. There we have it. Our K&N Performance Air Intake System is installed and complete. Very straightforward installation. Anyone could do this at home with some simple hand tools. We sourced this from JRP, a local performance shop in the area, and we like these because they come with a horsepower guarantee. So they give you this dyno graph, which shows it makes a little over 10 wheel horsepower and 10 pound-feet of torque, and they literally guarantee that. So if you go and dyno test it and find it makes less than that, they'll give you your money back. We've tested these on a bunch of different cars over the years, and they always make the advertised power. So these are actually fairly conservative numbers. And the reason we swapped out that old system is because it was a cold air intake system that was designed to route the filter down in front of the radiator here. But because this was a drift car, we wanted to put an oil cooler, a power steering cooler on it, so we put coil coolers for both of those purposes, as well as a coil aluminum radiator, and that used the real estate that old intake was supposed to use. So we just shortened it, stuck a filter on the end of it, and called it good. But since we're giving this car away, we wanted to put on a proper functional intake with a heat shield here to protect the air intake temperatures and a velocity stack in there that we know gives you more top end power. So that's it for the intake. And as for the rest of the motor, it is bone stock. If you go back and watch the drift series where we built this car, you'll know that this chassis was very low mileage. It was basically a track car its whole life. It had like 20-something thousand miles on it, and this engine came out of a wrecked American car that had 38,000 miles on it. So this engine has 38,000 miles on it. It has the matching cluster in it now, so the mileage on the cluster matches the motor. and there's no modifications made to it. You can see it's got Samco hoses on it, those Coil-Rad coolers, this HKS grounding kit, and a Borla catback exhaust system, which we think is a really nice, clean sounding exhaust system for a street car. And that's it. So you've got a good reliable motor that has been on the dyno. A dyno tested at over 250 wheel horsepower. So that's very healthy numbers for a VQ of this rev up generation.
Arguably the area that needs the most amount of improvement in this vehicle is the interior. Over the years, we have done things like stripped out the steering wheel. In place here is an old Momo race one. The shift knob itself is completely gone. We do have this somewhat working drift handle that was good for when we were using it as a drift car and not so good now. And so we're gonna start with replacing a bunch of these things, but before that, I do wanna mention the really nice thing is we do have oil pressure, oil temp, and water temp gauges installed in this car, all AAM. These are fantastic. They give you a good idea of the engine's vital systems and are gonna ensure that you're not gonna blow your motor up, because that's originally what happened with this car. The original owner did blow the engine up. So anyways, we're gonna start off by installing a shift knob here from Circuit Hero. I love these. This is a teardrop style. It's really nicely weighted too, and I think it's just like the perfect add-on for the Z in the sense of the weight on it gives the Z nice crisp shifts. It really does make it feel much nicer than stock. For a replacement steering wheel, we have this Momo Mod 7, and this is actually a temporary wheel that we're putting on here right now because I have ordered a really neat OEM wheel from Exclusive Steering. It's got some carbon fiber accents on it. It's got a flat bottom shape right here. Super neat wheel, and it retains all the OEM functions, has the airbag as well. However, due to COVID, it's taking much longer to arrive, so I'm hoping you will see it at the end of this episode when it will show up and we'll install it, but for now we're gonna put this guy on. I am leveling up my bolt game here. Check this thing out, like a nice tie look, and more importantly though, it does have a Torx head on it, which I always find you strip the Allen bolts when you're installing a steering wheel, and then the next guy trying to take it off has a hard time. So with these Torx bolts, it works so much nicer. And look at that, a cool blue and yellow theme going on here. I'm digging this. The 350Z is equipped with what I think is quite possibly the cheapest radio that you can buy right now. This is, I think, like a $20 no-name Amazon radio. Incredibly enough, it does have Bluetooth, but we wanted to make a little bit of an upgrade for the person winning this vehicle, and we went to our favorite brand of universal head units. This is an Atoto Ultra S8 unit, so it's got all the Bluetooth. It has the highest end features like voice recognition, like hand gesturing. You can see down here, you do like these hand gestures. This is the same unit that Dave installed in his Lexus, and it has been absolutely fantastic for him, so we're gonna do the same into this vehicle. I may have made a mistake and foolishly thought that the single DIN mounting bracket, that this piece would magically unbolt itself and we could bolt in this as a double DIN, but guess what? That is not the case, which means I now have to source a double DIN surround mounting bracket here, which is gonna take a day, not too bad. But on the bright side, thing is, I've already got a bit of the interior part here, and I do wanna take the rest of the center console off so we can get this e-brake handle off. And there we have it. Stock parking brake is back in. Now on to the next thing, which is this here, an antiquated Sparco race bucket seat. We went back and forth as to whether we were gonna keep it in here or not. We are kind of building this as a street track car. However, for legality reasons, we're gonna put the stock seat back in, and the other big problem that this Sparco seat poses is that it is hard mounted in here. And that was because we couldn't, if we kept it on adjustable rails, we'd hit our head on here with the helmet. So it was just, the seat was not in a good position. It's an old seat, so we're just gonna ditch it. I forgot how comfortable and supportive 350Z seats are. They're actually really, really nice. And you guys will notice we do have our 4-point racing harness installed, and it goes a little something like this. It is mounted to the floor, so it's gonna work really, really well here. And you can see, just yank these guys down and we are ready to rip. So you know, this is, I think, a good in-between of having a factory seat with a 3-point belt that you can drive this car around, and if you're at the racetrack, this will give you the extra support. You can see it's so much better, and really with the supportiveness of the stock seat, this is gonna turn out to be pretty good, but we will let you know how this works on the racetrack. And you may have noticed the interior is all back together, including the A-Toto head unit. And as I mentioned before, this is your top of the line Android-based head unit. It has all of the good stuff, including YouTube with Speed Academy on it.
It is time to move on to the exterior of this car, where the biggest transformation is gonna happen, as you might have guessed from all the missing panels. We just heard back from the body shop, and everything's gonna be ready to be picked up in the morning. So what we're gonna do is prep the rest of the car, polish it, make it look as good as all the new bits are gonna look. Man, what a difference a polish job makes. This car looks so much glossier. It's really come back to life in a lot of ways, hasn't it, Pete? It's still got some, you know, imperfections, obviously. This is a, what, 15-year-old car now, believe it or not. And obviously the big sort of trouble spots you could call are here and here. And these scratches were actually on the car when we bought it. So this was a track car in Arizona in its previous life, and he had a big dramatic off-track adventure right before he sold it to us. And we suspect this damage probably came from that, but we're gonna touch those up. We have paint match paint coming with the rest of the body kit, and we'll touch that up as well as any other little spots that might, you know, there's a couple little stone chips here we can touch up and so on. But overall, it looks remarkably good for the age of the car. I'm pretty stoked on how shiny it is.
This is the current bumper off of the 350Z, and it is an Ings +1 replica. This is a KBD bumper, which means the fitment is not great, but worst of all, it weighs a ton. I'd say this thing is like 30 to 40 pounds. It's kind of crazy how heavy it is. So we wanted to replace this with something a little bit more functional and looked cooler. Feast your eyes on this bad boy. This is a front bumper from Shine Auto. It is their Nismo V3 version, and it has this beautiful carbon fiber infused splitter, as you can see there. It was painted by Toronto Auto Firm. They're in the GTA area, and they did a fantastic job. Thank you guys so much for turning this around so quickly. We had a ton of parts that we dropped off to them. They were able to turn it around, and man, the paint looks beautiful on this. What a difference. This thing is looking mighty mean all of a sudden. Holy smokes. The fitment on the bumper is very good. There's some little spots, like little inconsistencies under the lights, as you can see here and on the other side, but otherwise it's really, really nice. The one downside to it is there's no way to bolt anything down here, like on the underside, to the vehicle itself. So it is a little flimsy on these corners, but I mean, all in all, for a replica, I think this thing is certainly a winner. No pressure here to line this up at all, huh?
No, you got one shot at it.
I know, it's already sticking up. Oh man. Wow, this thing is looking so awesome. This is the hood that we currently have for this car, and it is a Cybon carbon fiber one that we had painted, and we are gonna replace this to an OEM hood, and the reason is this one does not fit well at all. You can see, I can't even close it. There, I had to push on it. And the gap that it's created here, to me, is just unacceptable. You can see along these lines here, it's really, really poor. I do not like that at all. I don't love this. I think this looks really cheesy, like the faux carbon fiber locking pins. So we are ditching this thing. Let's get the OEM one on here, which I think is gonna be a much cleaner look. OEM hood is on, and you can see the guys from Toronto Auto Firm actually painted underneath as well. So this thing is looking mighty fresh underneath. Up top here, they also did the fenders, so the whole front end matches perfectly. And wow, look at the gap. It is so much better, so much more precise. Having that rubber trim there, I think also helps tremendously, and it just makes this thing look so much more OEM. So I think mission accomplished up front here. Now it's time to move on to the side skirts. This is a C West side skirt, and fitment on it was actually really, really good. It is kind of banged up and cracked in a bunch of spots. I don't know if that was Dave drifting or not, but
no, that wasn't me, bro.
It's a little broken, and what we're replacing it with is an OEM side skirt with this carbon Shine Auto extension, and I think this is gonna look super rad. I do really prefer this look to the C West one. I mean, who doesn't love the carbon fiber? And of course, this matches. This is a part of, which I forgot to mention, the V3 kit. So it is tucked in nicely. The install on this actually took longer than expected. There was a bit of a gap here, and we had to space the bottom mounting brackets to kind of like get it to come out and suck it in, but now it looks really good. It's on here really sturdy, so I'm pretty happy with it. The style of our C West bumper is very, very JDM. I do like it. I kind of wish this was painted black. I think it would look pretty neat, give it more of like a diffuser look. Nevertheless, this is coming off and we are replacing it with that Nismo piece. The front bumper is aggressive, but this is next level, people. I'm in love with the rear bumper on the Nismo one here. It just looks so good. The carbon fiber accent for, I don't want to call it a diffuser, but you know, like the lower trim area here looks so rad. I think it's just like so aggressive and has a very race car-esque look to it. Fitment on this was really good. You can see everything fit up really nicely except the right turn signal blinker. It's got a bit of a gap down here, but you can't win them all.
I gotta say, I'm with you, PT. This rear bumper is amazing looking. I love this sort of like duct area that comes out of here. It is race car inspired, no question about it. However, to complete that race car vibe, we do need one more thing, and these holes in the trunk lid might tip you off what we're gonna do right now. Bam, look at that. APR Racing GTC 300, three-dimensional carbon fiber wing, making all the downforce. And if we tell you a true story, this wing did actually come with the car when we bought it. We just never bothered installing it because we thought, well, with a drift car, we don't really want or need rear downforce, but now that we're going more with a grip setup, all this cool Nismo aero, why not cap it off with the carbon fiber? It just ties in nicely.
Dude, it looks perfect with it.
The holes were already drilled. We just had to bolt it down correctly, which might have taken us 2 tries, but it looks perfect. I'm stoked on it, man. This car is looking awfully good. To finish off our aero package, we have these really aggressive canards from Shine Auto Project. And it's worth noting that the underside of these actually come like a raw carbon, not clear coated like this. So Toronto Auto Firm, who did the paint on the car, also cleared these for us because it was tweaking Pete's OCD a little bit. I'm guessing the MCR ones come you know, raw like that, but we think it looks a little more finished off this way. So these are gonna require a bit of effort to get them lined up properly and drill the holes, which is gonna be a little nerve-wracking. So come along for the ride here as we sweat some bullets installing these things. Well, time for a little truth therapy, everybody.
We f***ed up.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I was gonna say sometimes the mistakes happen, especially on Mondays after Pete came back from a week-long vacation.
My mind should be good though, right?
It should be, but you're not used to thinking in these terms. You're used to changing diapers and going on hikes.
This is no excuses here.
Man, it is what it is. These things do happen, and unfortunately, we messed up on a measurement from this corner down to the bottom here. It was supposed to be measured to the top of this corner, but we thought it was to be measured to the bottom of the corner. We just read the diagram wrong. So we drilled this hole about 40 mil too high. So as you can see, this is up where we drilled the hole, and these kind of converge here, which doesn't look proper. if I lower it down to where it's supposed to be, A, it fits the contour of the bumper better, and B, you know, the lines all kind of match up with this line along the top of the bumper here. So we hummed and hawed about it. It's like, do we set them at a more aggressive angle on the top as well? But it just didn't feel right. It didn't look right. So we're gonna put this in the right place. And then through the magic of paint and body work, those holes will disappear before the lucky winner of this car takes possession of it. So although you might see these here for the remainder of the videos on this car, believe me, they will be gone before the new owner claims its prize. So what a bummer. And there you have it. These are in the correct position now, and we do have the bonus brake cooling holes here. You're welcome, internet. And man, it does look really, really cool. I love how much aggression these add to the front bumper. I think it really balances out the look of the car with the big wing on the back and these canards up front. As for the rest of the car, we'll give you a quick walkthrough what's underneath here, starting with these big, sexy 6-pot EP Racing brakes with 2-piece rotors. These things do an incredible job of slowing this car down. And as you can see up in here, we still have the Fortune Auto 500 coilovers that we put on it during the Drift series. As well, you can see we've got this Eibach front sway bar. It is an adjustable sway bar. Up top, we've got SPC's camber adjustable A-arms. And in the back, we also have an SPC adjustable camber arm, as well as an Eibach adjustable sway bar in the rear. And we've got a pretty big ticket item in the LSD department. That is an ATS carbon fiber 1.5-way LSD, which is a really nice piece to have on a grip car like this. For our track tire setup, we have a brand new offering from Continental Tire. This is the Continental Extreme Contact Force tire, and it is a 200 tread wear rating tire, which means it's designed to be very competitive in like autocross, time attack, and endurance racing series, where a 200 tread wear is often specified. And the Hoosier DNA in here really came down to them making this thing a very good endurance racing tire where it produces very consistent lap times over longer runs. Typically with a 200 tread wear tire like this, they'll overheat in 2 or 3 laps, but Continental and Hoosier really wanted to make this tire appropriate for those endurance type racing series, so they wanted to make it last longer. So not only will it not overheat quickly, but it also wears at a much more gradual rate than your typical high grip 200 tread wear tire. However, in like testing that I've seen online, we haven't done our own yet, but the testing I've seen so far, these are also very, very fast. They are, if they're any slower than like the very fastest tires in the 200 tread wear category, it's by a very small margin. So to get that much grip and this kind of like durability and endurance usability is pretty amazing. So we're super stoked to try these out on the Z. For wheels, we've gone with Koenig's Hexaform in this really nice matte black finish. It's a 6-bolt design with their B face. So it's the more concave or dished of the 2 faces, which gives it that really aggressive look. This is an 18 by 10.5 plus 18 offset, so pretty aggressive. It looks really good on this car, as we'll show you in a moment. And this uses their flow form technology, so it's very lightweight. It only weighs 19.7 pounds, which for an 18 by 10.5 wheel is remarkably lightweight. But we also know that with flow form technology, they're very durable. They'll deform before they crack and fail. So it means if you like hit a really harsh pothole or smash a curb, these are not going to crack and fail on you completely. They'll just bend. So it's a very safe, durable setup for the racetrack, and I think a really cool, clean style on our red Z here. One thing I should mention is that these 275, 35, 18 Extreme Contact Forces are very wide for their size. Like a lot of 200 tread wear tires or a lot of race tires, they run wide. And so I had to get a pretty aggressive alignment into the car just to ensure that we weren't going to contact the fender with the tire. I think we're clear now with our adjustable upper arms maxed out. So we're at 3.5 degrees of negative camber in the front. And out back, I did -2 degrees of camber. I wanted to stand the rear tires up a little bit more for better drive, better straight line traction. With that said, why don't I show you what our street tire and street wheel setup looks like. And here they are. These are, of course, Continental Extreme Contact Sport tires, a tire that we are very familiar with, and if you're a subscriber to our channel, you'll be very familiar with too, because we run these on just about everything these days. This is a very good 340 tread wear summer tire that does it all. It is an exceptionally comfortable and quiet, refined summer tire with very high dry and wet grip levels. These are like class leading for wet grip and are very, very good in the dry too. We've track tested a bunch of cars on these and found them to handle track testing extremely well too. So even though they're rated at 340, we found them to be really fast for that rating, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to compare to the Extreme Contact Force. And as for wheels, of course we have gone with Koenigs again, this time with their countergram in this hyperchrome center with machine polished lip.
All right, guys, that is going to be a wrap on this episode, and I am beyond stoked how cool this 350Z has turned out. It is epic. We went from a beat up drift car to now what looks to be like an awesome track car that you can also drive on the street. Now, if you guys are looking to win, I'm gonna reiterate this again, to win this car, then go to powerjdm.com. For every $1 spent there, you get an entry. Or if you'd like to double your entries, check the link in the video description here. And if you enter your email there, you're going to be able to get double the entries for every $1 you spend. So it's a no-brainer, go do that. And when you visit powerjdm.com, there's gonna be a ton of really cool Speed Academy swag. A lot of you have been asking, how do you support us? Well, buy some swag, which in turn is gonna enter you into this contest. We will see you in the next one at the racetrack where this thing's gonna rip some hot laps.
Starting to explore the limit of this tire. It is good, guys. It is really good. Okay. Yes. Little slide there. That's what I'm talking about. Man, I'm blown away by the grip on the brakes. It's so much better. Wow.